Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our panel called Toward Equitable Community University Partnerships, Faculty Engagement with Raleigh's Black Communities. My name is Courtney Wade. I'm a third-year doctoral student in the Applied Social and Community Psychology program. I'm a graduate assistant with the Wake Community University Partnership, and I'm the founder of the Disability Autistic MAD and Neuroqueer Solidarity Project. I and Ari Green will be facilitating the panel today. So I'm just going to go through a round of introductions of the panelists before we get started. So, and I use she and they pronouns. Ari Green, who uses she and her pronouns, is a second-year doctoral student in the Public History program and a graduate research assistant with the Wake Community University Partnership Engagement Team. Her research interests include historic and digital preservation, community engagement, and gentrification and displacement. Dr. McGill, who uses she, her, hers pronouns, is an associate professor in the Department of History and the coordinator of the Self-Design Program in Interdisciplinary Studies. Dr. McGill has worked with the Friends of Oberlin Village on various education and preservation projects since 2014, serves on historic resources and preservation boards in Raleigh and North Carolina, and has conducted community-based heritage work in African descent Creole communities in Belize since 2005. Cheryl Williams, who uses she, her, hers pronouns, is an Oberlin Village descendant and formerly served as co-vice chair for the Friends of Oberlin Village Board of Directors. Cheryl has served on and chaired the Cemetery and Education Committees for the Friends of Oberlin Village, and her family home in Oberlin Village is the historic Turner House. Dr. Grimmett, who uses he, him, his pronouns, is a professor in counselor education and associate department head for educational leadership policy and human development in the College of Education. He is also the founder and co-director of the Community Counseling Education and Research Center, or CSERC, which is housed in the counselor education program here at NC State University. Verna Best is the Wake County Social and Economic Vitality Program Manager and works with both Wake County Human Services and NC Cooperative Extension. For the purpose of this conversation, Ms. Best will be speaking on behalf of the community partner for both Wake Cup and CSERC. But I believe Betsy McFarland will also be speaking on behalf of CSERC Community Partnership. Betsy uses she, her, hers pronouns and is the executive director of the Wade Edwards Learning Lab, or WELL. Betsy has worked in the nonprofit arena her entire career. She loves big picture thinking and community engagement of being an executive director. She also loves program design. Betsy gave CSERC their first physical home at the WELL. And Dr. Brookins, who uses we, he, and ours pronouns, is a professor in the Department of Psychology and Africana Studies program, as well as the director of the Center for Family and Community Engagement at NC State. And Dr. Brookins also leads the Wake Community University Partnership, or Wake Cup. So the first question is for all panelists, and anybody can jump in. Can you describe your experience with this faculty community partnership? And why did you get involved with this particular partnership? Oh, I'm sorry, Ari was supposed to read that.
Don't worry.
No, you can jump in on the next one.
Okay, don't worry. Do you guys want me to repeat the question?
Why don't you read it again?
Yeah. So for all participants, can you describe your experience with faculty community partnership? What did you get in? Why did you get involved with this particular partnership?
And I am going to defer to our invitees, Alicia and Cheryl. Why don't we begin with you all?
I'm Cheryl Williams. Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us in this panel participation. Since I was a little girl, my family has always been involved in the community in some way or another, either through church. I was encouraged through school to be involved with community organizations all throughout my adult life, my career in banking. I was involved with different associations, and the common thread is to shine light on the African American community in particular, because I had access to places where a lot of people don't think they would find someone that looks like me. And when I came to Raleigh and became involved with the Friends of Oberlin Village, I was able to develop relationships with the universities, with the state departments, city departments, municipalities, and other nonprofits. And the focus is to share information and history, and not Black history, it's American history. It's not taught in the schools. And this month has been designated as Black History Month, but there are all kinds of BIPOC communities and people and heroes that have made contributions to our history, at all levels of the economic strata as well. So my involvement in the community, working with partners like people that are on this panel, is to give equity and to inform all communities, all cultures of the beautiful contributions, the participation that may not be recorded. So that's my passion. So that's why I am involved. And I'm looking forward to be involved with this group of people, because our ideas, our passions seem to be very congruent.
Thank you, Ms. Cheryl. Any of our staff want to respond aside from our community members?
Maybe I'll jump in, since my community engagement work in Raleigh, at least, kind of started with my connections with Cheryl. I have degrees in anthropology and archaeology, and at the time that I was studying in graduate school, there was a lot of discussion. This is the why. A lot of discussion about the need to engage with local communities more, to better understand how diverse groups of people know history and learn history and care about history and how they preserve history, et cetera. And so my training as a graduate student was in community-based work. And I started and continue to do work in Belize, in Belizean Creole communities, which are communities of African descent. But Belize is a really diverse country, and I was particularly interested in how different aspects of history were taught, and how these Creole communities connected with Maya history, for example. But then I moved to Raleigh to teach at NC State, and in our public history program in the Department of History. And I love history, and as Cheryl says, our passions, right? But I also like to be a part of the communities around me. And I live right next to Oberlin Village, and Friends of Oberlin Village members had reached out to faculty at NC State in sociology, Africana studies, history, the marine, earth, and atmospheric sciences. And it was kind of an organic development of partnerships where there were various projects and pieces of Oberlin history that community members, both descendants, but also just people who live in the area, wanted to know more about the cemetery, but also wanted to know more about how do we utilize local policies and laws to protect the historic resources. And so I just started volunteering and attending meetings, and our as my family's grown, our family members have attended meetings, our kids have attended meetings, and so and now I try to integrate connections with Friends of Oberlin Village through my teaching as well, because I think it's really important for our students to know about the history and the culture around them. So I'm sure we'll get to talk about some of the specific projects that we're all involved in later. So I'll stop there.
Thank you, Dr. McGill. Dr. Grimmett, would you like to discuss your community partnership and faculty partnership?
Yes, I'd be happy to, Ari. Thanks for the invitation. My name is Mark Grimmett. I am a professor of counselor education, as Courtney mentioned earlier. And my most favorite thing that I've done at NC State is to start the Community Counseling Education and Research Center. At the present moment, I am in Tuskegee, Alabama, where I'm from, visiting my folks and taking care of some business down here. But it's a proper context because when I was 12 or 13 years old, our local hospital closed for good. I'm 49 years old now, will be 49 this year. And that had a tremendous impact on me, and it's very relevant to the beginning of CSER. So it's important. I live in a historically Black community. It's 93% at least African American. And for vital services, we are sometimes under-resourced, very similar to certain aspects of Wake County and Raleigh. My children go to Hunter Elementary School and Ligon Middle School, which is very close to where my cousin Verna works at the Crosby Garfield Center. But Betsy McFarland actually was the first person. She's the executive director of the Wade Edwards Learning Lab. You'll hear from her shortly. I had shared with our students at NC State for a number of years that I wanted to develop a community counseling center located in the community to provide mental health services to everyday folks who did not have insurance or who didn't have the income to be able to pay for world-class, and I want to emphasize that, counseling services, out of pocket. Oftentimes people who don't